Grit with Grace is brought to you by Zoetis. Your dedication runs deep, and it fuels everything Zoetis does. To protect and support cattle and those who care for them, we are born of the bond. Learn more at bornofthebond.com.
Well, life can change in an instant, especially when natural disaster strikes. What started as an ordinary evening of milking for one dairy family turned into a nightmare. This weekend, we share a story of a family who continues to be stronger than the storm, putting grit with grace on full display.
It's a day Rob and Lisa Leach will never forget.
May 28th, 6:43 p.m.
6:43.
That's when it hit us.
That's the moment time stood still as the Leach's entire farm was wiped out by an EF4 tornado.
It was noisy, but it was just like non-stop wind. It was just the most incredible wind you ever can imagine.
The twister that hit this Linwood, Kansas farm was a monster at a mile wide, carrying 170-mile-per-hour winds.
We've got a lot of outbuildings. You know, we have shop, freestall barn, calf barn, holding pens, grain bins, garages, silos. It's all gone.
Farm Journal captured the aftermath just days after the tornado tore through. Metal and trees, the milking parlor, and barns flattened.
When we came up the hill, you know, we expected the worst, and we immediately found, well, we had cattle meeting us. We had cattle in our yard, you know, cattle walking all over the place, dead cows.
The wind so powerful, some cows were carried more than a half-mile away.
The one that was the furthest away we didn't find for 24 hours, and she was the most valuable cow on the farm.
Where was she?
She was down a ditch and couldn't get up.
The Leach's daughter, Taylor, was still in disbelief even days later.
Trash everywhere, nails everywhere, wires everywhere. I don't know if we ever have cattle here again, how we're going to be able to clean up all of the wire and nails out in the pasture.
The raw reaction was fresh as the Leaches had scrambled to get the surviving cows to help.
We could only get 20 head out the first night. Those are the ones that were hurt the worst.
The next morning, Rob says what was left of their 125 head herd were also hauled out.
We have so many friends. I mean, they're
Very good friends.
very good friends that took them roughly 14, 15 farms at one time.
A local farm rescued the ones wounded the most.
4 vets that worked all night long on cows that were cut up, and they never charged us. We never got any bills for any medical work, and they said, well, we'll just have to charge you for drugs. And then some drug company donated drugs, so we didn't have to pay for that. So we were very fortunate.
And 2 years later,
We brought home about 60 or so, so we've got at least that many still farmed out.
rebuilding is still taking place, but major headway happened thanks to countless volunteers.
There were literally hundreds of people, volunteers that came, probably for, I would say we averaged 100 people a day for over 3 weeks.
An army of volunteers who helped pick up the pieces left.
We had several massive cleanups that summer that we cleared as much debris out of the fields as we could, and just
Walked.
bulldozers.
I think we walked about
track
200-300
hose.
acres.
Just shoulder to shoulder walking the fields.
The shredded structures and debris once scattered across this farm were slowly cleaned up.
We sold 350,000 pounds of scrap metal in the summer of 20.
As the effort to mend the damage lasted for more than a year.
We drained 7 ponds because they were just completely filled with steel, barn, tin, lumber.
But from the rubble rose new life and a new look.
We started with a commodity barn that really, it was kind of the catch-all.
One structure replaced here and another foundation poured there in an effort to replace 11 barns battered by the storm.
COVID didn't help our cause at all. So, you know, after COVID, it was kind of a strange phenomenon. People were building stuff all over the place. The price of materials went through the roof. You couldn't get a crew to do anything.
Much of this work was done with their own hands, even putting up this barn.
17 of us built it in one day on December 21st.
The final piece in a 2-year orchestrated effort to finally start milking again.
We've been approved by the co-op. We've got a trucker lined up that's going to haul the milk for us, and we've got 6 cows that we're milking right now.
The same path from the house to the barn before the tornado is one the Leaches still travel every day.
You know, this is our passion. This is what we do for fun. This is all we've ever done for fun. We like to show cows. That's kind of our thing.
As the Leaches say, calling it quits
I wasn't ready to quit.
never crossed their minds.
And honestly, we had some of the best cows we had ever had.
Yeah.
I
If it wasn't for
knew
that.
we had some really good cows, and that's probably the only reason we came back.
And a comeback it was. The same year the tornado hit, the Leach's youngest daughter, Sophie, took home grand champion at the Kansas State Fair with their Holstein named Lin-Crest Tess, a cow that still bared the scar after surviving the tornado that left a gash in her neck. The family also won the Jersey Jug at Louisville with their Jersey Juju that year, another survivor, and one shown by the woman who rescued Juju and 20 other cows the night the tornado hit.
We've had, you know, some good days in the show ring since the tornado, you know.
Some really phenomenal
Yes, so we're very lucky,
accomplishments.
very lucky.
As the Leaches cherish what they've accomplished in 2 short years, they say their family farm was restored for their 3 girls.
They love it too. We're doing it for them, you know. This is their passion too.
A family that continues to defeat any doubts while beating the odds.
Every now and then, you really need to go back and look at the pictures just to remind
Yeah.
yourself how far you've come.
How
So-
many?
And
know.
how many people have helped you get there.
Yeah, it took us a lifetime to build what we had, so to get back to here within 2 years.
As even 2 years later, the Leaches continue to prove they're truly stronger than the storm.
Rob recently retired from the fire department due to the tornado. It actually happened a year after he planned. But the Leaches say they continue to dairy even after the tornado because that's always what they dreamed. Up next, John Phipps.
Where's all the Chinese manure going?
Over 10,000 years ago, mankind first domesticated cattle. At this exact same time, cattle domesticated us. Our 2 species have worked together and taken care of each other for centuries. Zoetis is today's advanced answer to that ancient bond. We help make it stronger, healthier, more robust. We are born of the bond.